Hello, wonderful people. I can see there's some people connected already, and I hope everybody's doing okay. Good to see you. Well, not really, because I don't see you. Some people from Algeria, salam, and say hello, okay? And also introduce yourself, where you're watching from. We are connected on multiple platforms. On YouTube, on Facebook, multiple Facebook actually, pages. Like I believe it's like a couple YouTube channels, Twitch. There's a different platforms we are coming to you. But good to see you, wonderful people. Let me know if quality of sound and the picture good. If it's not, just let me know, because I don't want to be, just reconnect again and so on. But good to see you. Okay. Eliyahu, Shabbat Shalom, Eliyahu. Manishma. I hope everything is wonderful. Ata Mevorach. So same people connecting, and I'm really happy to see you, wonderful people. While everybody's connecting, so I want to say good morning. Keith, good morning. Gander, good morning. Keith, good to see you again. You're connecting on every of my live streams. Wonderful. Bernie, good afternoon. Well, Keith, also good afternoon, because you're in the same time zone. Bernie, good to see you. Okay, wonderful people. Today, again, it's gonna be a special live stream. Okay. Yes, as far as me, I'm still working on the same piece. Not the same, but it's actually the second piece. Right there is the first one. And let me show that to you how it's gonna look. So that is the first one, and it is done. It is ready to be painted, and some of you saw actually yesterday I posted that on Facebook and Instagram. By the way, follow me if you do have a Facebook or Instagram. That would be Woodcarver Grabovetsky. But I painted like a first coat of primer on this piece. And let me show that how it looks. Yeah, I know it's like a really white, really white, but that is what the client wanted. So the whole project gonna be just white. Yes, I'm gonna do some glazing. It's still gonna look nice, so it's not gonna stay just a white. Okay, so it is still gonna be good. All right. But that is how it looks. Let me put it aside. And let me check if people connected. Now, let me see. Yep. So there's actually a lot of people connected. And let me say hello to a couple of those people. Ahmed, good to see you. Phil, good to see you. Salam, whoever wrote in Arabic or Farsi. I don't speak Farsi or Arabic. Matt, good to see you. Now, wonderful people. It's already like almost every Friday, the last 4 or 5 Fridays, we do have a special guests, or I do have a special guests. Most of the time, those people, just the normal people like you and me, but they are achieved something in the world of woodworking. And yes, when I'm saying woodworking, I do include everything what is connected to wood. Furniture making, carving, and yesterday I also posted, or day before yesterday I posted, because some people wrote to me, wood carving is not woodworking. And I posted on Instagram and also Facebook. I've got like lots of comments about that. Yes, I am working with wood, and what you see, it is a piece of wood. It's woodworking, okay? And also instrument making, like a guitar making, violin making, and so on and so on, okay? So today, I would like to really introduce you as a special guest, Okay, so his name is Trevor, and he is also took one of my classes in person. But he is actually already professional guy. I mean, not professional guy. He is pretty much one of the best. Okay, in what he does. He's gonna show you around, and you will understand why I'm saying he is one of the best. He is violin making. I'm not making violin maker, or upright bass, cello maker, instrument maker, luthier. Okay, so his name is Trevor, and I would like you just uh, you know greet him. All right, right there's Trevor. Hello, Trevor. How are you?
Good. It's a pleasure to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, let me actually show you name for people know how to find you. Okay, how are you?
I'm great. How are you doing this morning?
I'm doing absolutely wonderful. Wonderful. Hey, Trevor, uh, tell us a little bit about yourself. Okay, I know a little bit, but hold on just a second. Okay,
Oh,
people.
sure.
When I came to Texas, okay, all the class I was teaching was sold out. But they've got two spots. Two people got sick, COVID, and those two spots actually they were available. And Trevor, he jumped right in, and just took that place. But besides that, he took me to one of the best places in Austin, Texas. It's a true cultural place. It's a true to culture of Texas. Okay, and yes, there was really good food and live dancing. And if you would ask me, did I dance? No, I did not dance, because I have no idea how to dance that two-step dance, taxing style. Okay, but it was really nice. Okay, and I really thank you, Trevor, also for that. Okay, people
Oh,
who's
glad
watching, just to say
to
hello to him. Okay, please. Okay, Trevor, tell us about yourself a little bit.
Yeah, so I used to play bass professionally. I got a degree in it out in Las Vegas, where I was raised. Played a long time, and sort of the recession hit, and it occurred to me, you know what? I really enjoyed just spending time with my wife and not being gone every night of the week. So uh, I kind of asked myself, well, what are some things I'm pretty good at? And I've always been an artist. My family of artists, and I've always played music. And I kind of put the two things together, uh, and decided to go to the Violin Making School of America in Salt Lake City. It's one of like the three major ones in this country, and there's about six all over the world. And they're all small schools, small programs. But I did that, about 12 years ago, and then went on to work in New York, LA, at LA Baseworks, a phenomenal shop there. And then I got the call after my first. I've been building this base in my apartment, and I took it from. I had my one bedroom in New York City. It was just a workbench, and then I slept on the floor, and I was
Mm.
making this upright base. Um, Spending any free time I had making this thing, and I took it with me all the way out to LA, and then finally finished it. And I got a certificate of workmanship, which is a big deal for your first instrument.
Of
So
course.
to get this job offer at the world's greatest shop, Robertson and Sons in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and
Hmm.
they've got people flying out from all over the world. And I studied there and worked there professionally for 6 years prior to going out on my own. And they still exclusively represent me. But working there, I was able to see the nicest spaces in the world, study them in hand, and do a lot of serious restoration work on them as well. My job was actually doing restoration and repair and setup,
Hmm.
and uh, I just happened to, I just had to keep making. So I kept making. I'd show up early in the morning and stay late, and eventually ended up getting a gold medal for base number 7, I think it was, and that gold medal really opened the world to me. Only there's one of my heroes slash mentors, Dan Hatches. He's got 3. He's a work on core. He can't compete anymore. Once you get 3, he won't want you. And then Guy Cole has a gold medal, and then I'm the third guy to have one from the ISB. And I think they've been doing the competition for like 26 years now, maybe 20 years. But it's a huge honor, and I really appreciated it. And it just pole vaulted my career. I think I got 15 orders that convention, and went on to start filling orders and really become a bass maker full time and get out of the restoration. I'll still do a little bit of restoration work on some really choice high end instruments. I've got a bass I work on for a gentleman in Houston. People fly all over the place to come out here, but it's one of the nicest basses in the world. It's worth over $1 million, I'm sure.
Oh,
It's
wow.
a instrument, so I'll
Okay,
maintain that.
hold
It's
on
an
just a
honor.
second. Hold on just a second, okay?
Yes,
Trevor, tell again, how much does it cost?
that one's over $1 million, which is one of the most rare basses in the world. Basses are far more rare than violins. Now, when I was at Robertson's, we would have at least maybe once a week something like a Stradivarius come in the shop, and those are, those are, I don't know, $8 million. They're incredibly expensive and rare.
Of course,
And
of course.
I wasn't doing the work on those. I was doing the work on the basses and some cellos. But being able to just hold them and see them on a weekly basis, and then one of the most famous books on classical basses, Dwayne Rosengard wrote this book, The Italian Double Bass. Well, the centerpiece basses was this collection from a private collector, and Robertson's actually ended up handling the sale. He decided that he was going to get out of it for some reason or another, and they handled the sale of these instruments, and I was able to study for well over a year. The nicest basses probably in the world that like we know of. There's a few more out there that are really nice, and they've gone through the shop too. But being able to see these instruments on a day-to-day basis, it really informed my making. The one that I got a gold medal with was actually a copy of one of those basses.
Do you have that picture? You sent me some pictures, right? So you sent
I
me some pictures, but let me try to find some of them, okay? And you
Sure,
can tell me, you can
sure.
tell a little bit history. Just a second, hold on, okay? Just a second, and I'll try to figure out how to show them. Okay, hold on. By the way, people, if you don't know what the bass is, it's like a big violin with just the four strings. Uh, is that the one or no?
That's the model. That's the model I've been making. I've been getting tons of orders for. Yeah, that's after a Trudy, he was the very end of the Cremonese makers. Cremona was really the heart of the finest quality of instrument making, and he was at the very tail end of that. So he had been working in these shops. Yeah, that's a one-piece ash back that it's brutal to work. It's very, very dense hardwood, but it makes for a phenomenal sounding instrument, and it looks great under varnish too.
Absolutely. And let me show that from different angles. Looks like you
Yep,
used some maple, the tiger maple for the
yep. That's
sides.
traditional maple right there. That's actually American. I use a lot of domestic woods, just because it's hard to come by. All the nice Italian stuff, or actually it's Slovakian maple, ends up going to violins, and they don't leave any good pieces over for basses. And if they do, I've bought them. I've got a pretty major wood habit, but yeah, and that looks great under varnish. And that's the principal of the of San Francisco purchased one of my basses, and he was playing for New Year's, and he sent it to me. Even I thought I got a big kick out of it. It was definitely a happy New Year to see that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Let me show some more pictures.
Yeah, so for this was interesting. I ended up making 3 basses out of the same wood, and on 3 different models. I believe that's what that picture is. And I wanted to. So the tops all came from the same tree, and I just wanted to see how modeling with a very similar. It's never going to be the same, but a very similar arch would affect things, because the violin makers, they all get to copy either Strad or Del Jesu, and they're phenomenal instruments. But the bass didn't really become modernized until they came up with steel strings. Prior to that, they were like gut strings, were like the size of your pinky. So the bass is a much more modern instrument. And if you think about the music that we now listen to, car stereos, home theaters, bass is, we now have much more of an ear for a bass. So it's a much, it's a more modern instrument. This is a cello. What is that one? It's, oh yeah, the poplar back.
That's a
Yeah,
back. Yeah, beautiful.
fun. Yeah, another one piece. I really like the rare wood. I can get away with it, and it inspires me. I like the wild looking stuff. It's
Yep.
hard to work.
Looks like that way. You like that stuff.
Yeah, and this was cool because I came across some redwood that was really burled, and redwood is very similar density. I mean, it is a tone wood, and it worked really well. So I built a pair. It's a guitar and a bass arch tops, and this was more for fun. I mean, I wanted to do a really good job on it, but guitar making, I respect it, and I like to dip my toes in different things just to get an appreciation for it. But I had a really good time making this.
And
I
you
thought it turned.
musician yourself, right?
Yeah. I played in Vegas for about 10 years prior to, and then I thought I was going to just do this lutherie by day and then go on to play every night. And then I just realized I really liked just being home at night, and I had enough
Mm-hmm.
work. So every now and again I'll get a good gig, and I'll take them if they're good, and I'll have a blast doing it. But it's nice to be able to just say no.
Sure.
Just
Sure.
say no. It's a good feeling, because when you're a musician, you have to say yes to everything.
Mm-hmm.
One night you'll be playing the best gig of your life, and the next night you're playing, at the back of a VFW for some crazy wedding. That's the life of a musician.
Sure. Sure. That's perfect. Let me show some more pictures.
Oh, sure.
But look at that. Isn't it beautiful? All that crazy
That's
wood.
the
And
last competition. Yeah,
oh, that is what I like. That's the boat.
exactly.
And
Yeah. So I go every morning. I went out this morning. I was on the water, so I had to build myself a boat because it was just too fun to not do. So I ended up making this boat, strip plank construction, off of was it Guillemot or Guillemot? I don't know how you say the word. Kayaks. He's great though. His plans are phenomenal. It's super fun. Anybody that ever has an inkling, just go out and do it. You'll have a great time making the project. It's relatively easy if you know how to use a hand tool.
sure. Frank is here.
Oh, hey Frank, howdy.
Yeah, he just says hello to you. Good to see you. Right, hold on. Let me just try to show again your face.
Yeah. Hi
Let me
Frank.
bring.
Yeah,
He's
Frank's.
saying, "Good to see you, Trevor." On. He is so knowledgeable and skilled.
Oh, thank you, Frank.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Now, can you just get a little closer to the center for we can see you?
Let's see, where am I at? There we go.
Right there.
Push.
Yeah. So, wonderful. Hey, Trevor, can you show us what you're working on right now, and just maybe show some of your skills?
Yeah. So I got on this kick to do a decorated instrument. It's a traditional thing, but I've always wanted to do it. So I ended up carving this face, and then I was like, well, I need to. What's going to go well with the face? I didn't want the face to just sort of grow out of nothing. So that's how I kind of learned about Alex and his school and everything, because I wanted to put some nice leaves on it, and did a little more research, and then I learned, wow, there's a lot of history to the acanthus and all these classical forms. It was sort of something I never really thought about, and the more I got into it, the more I just kept putting into it. So these are all flush mounted and inset into the sides. But then when I did the body, I was like, or when I did the scroll, I was like, well, you know what I really want? I need to do something to match the head. So I ended up doing that. Maybe I'll just put this over here. Sorry, I'll go slow.
Yeah.
But let's see. So I ended up putting the acanthus in every corner as well, and as well as up on the button. And that's just a temporary bolt for clamping. And then it's got this inlaid double purfling. Decorated instruments were very popular with gambas, and that all sort of predates. Sorry, I'll put you back in the that sort of predates the violin family. Gambas were all made for like royalty, and then the violin was kind of like the bad boy of instruments, and it really started as a folk instrument. And because gambas would have frets, and they would have 6 to 7 strings, and you could play, everything was in tune. You'd play like motets, and well, maybe not motets. That's too old. It doesn't matter. Either way, the violin was a bad boy because you didn't have to play with the intonation. Well, you had to play with intonation, but you could move around, and you know, from that, it became more desirable, especially in the Venetian court. Which is funny because you're doing all this stuff for the Venetian room, but this was really, you know, that was the heart of the Venetian Republic. Was like the heart of money and control and power. I mean, it was as good as it got for the day and age.
Yep.
But as the violin sort of grew, because it was such a bad boy instrument, they were kind of made not on the cheap, but they kind of didn't make them as fancy. There wasn't as much money in them. And then the plague hit, essentially. The plague wiped out Brescia. It hit all over the place. And some of these places that were able to hang on was Cremona. I mean, it's kind of like by happenstance. So, but then you look at the Stradivarius and stuff like that, and he was making instruments for royalty when he was making these.
Mm-hmm.
Except for bodies. They were the ones getting all the commissions from the Medicis and boy, tons of people. I'm blanking. That's it. I love to think about it, but so I kind of wanted to take that tradition from before because, you know, they were so ornate, and then, you know, meld that with. I guess it came down to, I was at the Met. I guess it was about 4 years ago or something like that, the Metropolitan Museum of Art, and they've got a wonderful collection of stringed instruments. And, you know, they've got this beautiful Stradivarius, and then right next to it, this Joachim Tilke. And the Tilke it was just unbelievable. It was as nice, and I could see why they're in a case side by side with each other. Now, I did go on to learn, you know, years later, that Tilke kind of operated more of a shop. So he would have a carver who was doing all the carving. He had it's a small workshop, but still, he had different people that specialized in everything. Stradivarius did somewhat too with his sons, Bono and Antonio Jr., but the Tilke was much more, not production, but I mean, that's the only way they could do that, because they made lutes, they made gambas, he was famous for these bell-shaped citerns. But yeah, this is kind of what inspired all of this. So I wanted to just go ahead and do a nice showpiece, something I always wanted to do. And if it's on my bucket list, I'm like, well, I kind of like take a deep dive, and now I'm like, okay, well, I'm definitely going to be doing more of these, because it's really rewarding. You know, I can't do it all the time because it takes about 2 or 3 times as long. But I've really enjoyed it, and taking your carving class really helped a lot.
Yep, thank you.
The acanthus on the scroll is nowhere near as nice as the acanthus on the body, but it's just been a wonderful learning process.
Mm-hmm. So. Can you show us how to do some of the stuff? I just really want to see some hands-on.
A little on the back here. Set this down. So, out there. I have all these these all slide for all my tools because I make a huge mess out here. I do some power carving as well for the arch, and that flings chips everywhere. I used to do it with just hand tools, gouges and everything like that, but it took me like 2 years to make base number 1, and now it takes me about 3 months to make a base. So,
oh wow!
Second why.
And obviously, you sell a base for $8 million, right?
That's the trick. Until I'm at the $8 million price point, Alex.
Yeah.
But when I'm at the $8 million, I'll take you to another honky tonk and make you dance some 2-step.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
So let me just split this over. So. Perfect. Okay. So, as you can see with the top, let's see here. So right now the edges are all square.
Yep.
And I've gone ahead and I've finished the outline. You finish the outline, and then you do that purfling. The purfling stops cracks from running traditionally. So it's inlaid about 2 millimeters deep. So the idea now is that I'm going to go ahead and round that out. Let me just make sure this is nice. Jig.
So while you're doing it, can I ask you something?
Absolutely.
So pretty much you just showed us the head you carved, and also some carving on the back, acanthus leaves, and it looks like you followed that Greek style with the V cut on inside.
Yep.
except the upper one more like a, Roman one. But my question is, to be a good musician, I mean not musician, or musical instrument maker, you really have to learn wood carving also. Is that true?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, so all of the top, all of the edge work, all of the curves, everything you see. This starts as a well. Grab the billet real quick.
Yeah,
Um,
please do, because people don't understand what is involved in instrument making.
so I'm all about wood quality. So much. Every summer I go and harvest my own with my friends. But this is just one half of a top. Now look at this quality. That's split by hand.
Oh wow!
No run out. There's a little bit of bear claw in it. Uh,
So that's not bandsaw. People who don't understand what he's talking about, he did not use to resaw that on a bandsaw. He's actually split that by hand. I mean, not he, but maybe he did it. I don't know.
yeah,
Did you do?
yeah. I split this by hand, and then you can see this is about a hundred-year-old piece of wood
Uh-huh.
From an old collection. So this is for the next base I make. This has another. I think the top on this is about 50 years old. But yeah, it starts thick.
Mm-hmm.
You got a perfect center joint, and then you butterfly the two pieces, like this.
Mm-hmm.
That's all done with a number 8 lie-nielsen joiner, and with hide glue, which is the strongest glue. So I ended up predominantly using hide glue for everything. But yeah, all of this is carved and curved in.
So you really think the hide glue is the strongest one, better than tie bond?
Well, if the type it's an electrochemical bond when it's really bonding properly. So type bond is much more forgiving. Type bond is great stuff. I love it. I use it for some things. But in instrument making, it's typically hide glue because when it's really so when I join a top, I'll use clamps sometimes, but sometimes I won't. Sometimes I'll just do a friction joint, like on smaller instruments. On basses, I always use clamps. I'm not a He-Man,
Mm-hmm.
But on violin, I just slip fit them. So I'll pour the glue on and then just slide it, and then it creates a suction, and then I leave it there. I just let that suction hold it, and when you don't even need to put it in clamps. You just in a couple hours, it's rock solid. So that's what I try to do. And then most of the arching is done. Let's see. Can you see that cabinet?
Yeah. Yep.
Give you a little. Perfect. Okay. So most of the arching is done. I like to use a scrub plane at first, just a little scrub, and then a curve sole. I like the squirrel tail.
Sure.
With the round sole.
Some radius for people on the sole. People don't know that there's some radius on the sole of the plane. Not only, yep, this one, yep.
And then a Travisher, and that gets me most of the way there. Fantastic. I mean, having the right tool for the job, it takes years to know really what exactly works best. But and then I'll use some spoke shapes and all too, and then even some little guys.
Sure. Yes.
Yeah. But the little guy is typically for the step I'm on now, where I end up doing this little recurve. But yeah, this is all carved by hand. And then the final surface is scraped with
Perfect.
And then I little scrapers, and that gets me there. But I'll go ahead and do a little carving on this, or do you want me to show some more finished instruments? What do you prefer, Alex?
Well, let's see some instruments first, okay?
Okay, perfect. Yeah.
You've got a couple of them right inside.
I do, yeah. I'm gonna swap the camera. Back camera. Let's see. Did that work for? Can you see me? Does this work?
Yeah. Yep. It's kind of choppy, okay. But once you're gonna be holding it, it should be okay. Yes, that's good now.
Okay. Perfect. There's I got the sharpening station, everything like that. A little tour of the shop. But spike in the corner.
Of course.
18 bandsaw, and then the joiner planer combo. I got the wood piles back here.
People, you can see again, the best people in woodworking world, they work out of small shops, just from the garages.
Yeah, it's negative overhead.
So we're
I get
talking
to charge.
about $8 million bases, in the maiden garage. Maybe not 8, but 1 million.
1 million, yeah. That's a yeah, I work on his base. It's funny though, I have to call my insurance company and always up the insurance whenever his base is in the shop. But this is kind of like where I do the showroom sort of stuff. But
Can you show us where you keep your keys from a house?
oh yeah, absolutely. See that rock back there? No.
Yeah.
So this is a violin. I've got a couple violins just about ready to go.
Oh, look at that finish. It's actually excellent. I mean, even on a camera, just perfect.
Yeah, so I make all my varnish by hand. It's
Mhm.
all oil varnish. It's all by traditional recipes that date back centuries. And there's been a few books researching the secret of Stradivarius Varnish. And, it really does back up the stuff that we've all been using. And it's not surprising because it's, Greek pitch, it's colophony that's cooked down with linseed oil and then thinned with turpentine.
Mhm.
And then you can add some different pigments. Yeah, that's a nice piece of wood right there.
It's beautiful, yeah.
And then, it's that traditional finish. The whole idea is getting a lot of color and a lot of depth in a thin amount. This is another one in the white. Let's see if we can see it too very well. This is a Del Jesu model, and I got a little bit of bleeding from the inside, the stain. I like to stain the inside, so I like to antique the inside and the outside. So when you see it just looks correct everywhere.
Sure.
And then that buddy of mine's fiddle. This is a nice old English bass I did some restoration work on. I had to have the back off of this. It had a huge sound post crack, and then another crack up the back. Sorry, that's moving basses with one hand. And then I also had to replace. So somebody had destroyed this whole area of the button. It was like, and then they fit like a square. It was just terrible. So all that had to be replaced. And then they painted it black. So I had to pull the black off, and I'm still doing a little bit more touch up on it. But I really made I guess it's hard to see, but made the sound post cracks disappear. And that's a big deal because it's such a structural thing that supports all the tension of the strings. So,
wow.
And I think my grandfather was an artist, so it's one of his things. And then my mom's an artist, and that's one of her works. And
go.
then and yeah, this is the bass guitar version to that guitar that you saw.
Yep.
So you can see that. Let's see. I don't know if I have any. That's already too much work to have in the house on this. Another one of my grandfather's paintings.
Yeah.
But let's see. I think that is it for instruments I have in process. And then you see, Alex, the sun does shine in Austin
Once in a while, yeah.
Oh, no, all the time, man. you got our winter weather. Let's see. There's
Gold
my
medal.
That's John Clayton. He's one of my heroes. He's a jazz bass player. He's just one of the best in the world. And it was great because he was one of the judges, and I'm so proud that he liked my work.
Yeah.
All right, I'll go ahead and flip this back.
That's perfect. I like it a lot.
Let's see.
All right,
There
we
we
can
go.
see you. And while you just do the camera, people, don't forget, it's really important when you hit that like button, okay? So let me do that, okay? So see those hearts? That's all for Trevor, okay? Let me do it one more time for you to not to forget. So what you gonna show us?
Okay, so I'm going to get this into position. So I'm going to show you a little bit of the edge work that I've been doing and how I do it, and some of the basic ideas. So this instrument has initial arching is all done, and then I do edge work after the box is closed. So I'm going to be doing, there's a little recurve that goes out, and then a bead around the edge. And that's so stylistically important to different makers and to the overall look and how things look. And it's all done, you know, you can't use routers or anything like that. I mean, it's all done just with a knife, you know. Probably a luthier's, like they probably use their knife for, I don't know, 95% of everything. Maybe that's an exaggeration, but still, I mean, it's a super important tool.
Of course.
You can see from there. Maybe I'll try to get a little closer. We'll see.
Yeah, make it even closer for we can really see it.
Let's see here.
Oh, you got little to the left. You have to just move it. Isn't it easier to move the camera? That's all right.
You would think so, but not with my little setup. Okay, I'm gonna try to get where you can see over my shoulder. Great.
Yeah, that's good.
I think that's what we're gonna get. So first things first, you're always keeping. See, can you see that?
Yep.
You're always trying to keep in mind which direction the grain's going.
Of course.
Kind of like basic stuff, you know. But I'll tell you, until it becomes second nature. It's a whole thing. It's something to constantly think of. And what I always love to do is I love to just start with a nice 45 degrees. And, you know, I always stop a little short to give myself a little room. And then I just sort of feather in. And I always ride the bevel. And just always have about 3 points of contact is how I was taught to do this knife work. And then I'm going to go off this way too.
Don't crush it.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, because sometimes on a camera, you know, just I have a tendency to rush stuff and make mistake. So that would be a $1 million mistake.
Well, this isn't $1 million. It's not cheap.
Hey, there's a really nice comment. Gander saying, "Wow, I didn't know a base was whittled."
Was whittled?
Yes, yeah, with the knife. And people, see how he's holding knife? It's absolutely wrong. And you know that I told you in the school, right? you try to hold all the chisels like that and gouges.
This is just a different technique.
No, it's you're used to it.
I did spend a week of holding the gouge that way, and it did do a number right here, and I had to like you know, use it the right way. But you know, it's a slice. I'm slicing.
Okay, good. At least you're slicing.
At least I'm slicing it. And then I'll do the corner last because I want to keep, I like to have a little sharp here. I like to have the purfling just a little, I like to build a little tension so the purfling just shoots up just a little bit. And I like to imagine, you know, that these two lines are going to keep rotating out.
Sure.
And then I like to have this outside edge sort of swing back into the base just a little bit.
Sure.
And, you know, that's the basic of that, and then.
And you like to use rasps, huh?
Yeah, knife marks.
Sure, yes. You have to because you have to be perfect on instruments. Are you using audio rasps or what brand are you using for the rasps?
I'm using.
Oh no,
what are these?
it's
Grove.
not audio.
Yeah, these are Grove and Biorb jeweler's files.
Okay.
And they leave a really nice finish. I mean, I'll go back. One of the few parts of the instrument that I will sand is the edge work, just because people are touching it constantly. The more you touch this other hand, the more you really need to make sure that it's sealed very well and that it's sort of compressed, just because so much damage happens to the edge. And then I'm going to go ahead and establish this recurve.
Okay.
So that recurve, I like to start with a little curved sole plane, and I'm going on where I want it. I'll have it in a little bit more in the lower bout and then out a little more in the C bouts. And I'm just, again, I'm playing with the tension of the overall space. So I mean, everything is circles that we're dealing with. So you kind of have to like sneak in a little bit of details to make things look interesting. So I'll follow that center line first. And this is another reason why the split of the wood is so important.
Mm-hmm. Can you use a gouge for that or no? You could use just a gouge like number 3 gouge or number 5 gouge for this, right?
You know, I did that on a number of instruments, and all it takes is one spot where you go a half a millimeter too deep, and then it's really, when you get the varnish, the light reflecting off the varnish, you can really see dimples, and you really don't want to see any dimples. It really, your eye is drawn to this edge because that's where it breaks things. So you really need to be smooth. I mean, it can be done, and I have done it. I find it, I don't have to think as much with this tool. So, you know, and bass players are notoriously a little slower than the rest of us. So, and I'm a bass player, so I can say that. And then I'm going to come in with these. I like to use these the number 7s, and then pop in
number 7 gouges.
And I'll pop in here, and I want it to be a nice. I want to establish my the deepest part. I need to be back here. I'll probably come a little deeper, but since I'm just doing this on video, well, maybe I will go a little deeper just to show you. This is, if you think you've got the corner points out this way, and then it also, there's the other point where it comes back in on itself, and you want to emphasize that as well. And you also want this recurve to be a nice smooth line to play off of this. It adds more drama to the corner shape to have this be deep and to play off of that. You know, this is all like my personal feelings about it. But it's been working, you know, they look nice and the judges like it. And it's stuff when I've been able to observe really high quality instruments. It's stuff I see. And that's what I try to do is, you know, incorporate the stuff that I like. So now I've got a nice flowing curve. And then I'll come in with, with the number 3. Oh, I'll hold the handle since Alex is watching. I like to choke up on things, but it's not good because I'm just muscling through it. So.
Gander is asking, Trevor must own lots of clamps.
Oh, a lot of clamps?
Yes, yeah.
Let's see here. We'll back up. Can you see there? Okay.
A little lower. Oh, yeah, the clamps. Okay, go ahead.
There we go. So that's probably something like, let's see, oh, you can't see all of them from that angle.
No, we can see it. Yeah, we
that's
can see
half.
It.
And then the other half. I guess the other quarter of them is right there. And back on the other side of this, I've got all of my long bar clamps. You know?
Sure, yes.
Tucked away back here's my restoration clamps. Well, you can't see it, but yes, tons and tons of clamps. It's all about your clamps.
Yep, never enough, right?
Never enough. Well, actually, I think I was talking with my wife about this. I'm actually at a point where I think I might have enough of many things. She's reminding me. I
see. Well, Well, see, wonderful people. So doesn't matter if you just make instruments, you still have to be a wood carver. Just to do the stuff like what Trevor does. And I really do appreciate, Trevor. You showed us what you're doing and what you're working on. And people, it's not cheap. Okay, of course, it's not $8 million. Maybe, who knows? Maybe in future it's gonna cost eight, maybe 18. Who knows? But he's doing an absolutely wonderful job. Okay, and I was in his shop and I saw a finish he applied and how he faked antiquing. That's how I say that. uh, that's wonderful. That's really wonderful and beautiful. I mean, I really agree. With some of the comments coming up. Just it's beautiful stuff, Trevor. What you're doing? Okay, awesome.
Oh, thank you.
Awesome.
Appreciate
Uh, how can we find you? Just to tell us. I mean, if
it.
people wanna.
I've got that's my website. I need to update it. It's a very much a word of mouth business. So we don't really advertise a lot because I'm exclusively represented by Robertson and Sons violins. So they really handle all the sales. Anything that comes directly to me is more about like the artistic part of things. I don't handle the business side of things. I prefer to just focus on the art,
Mm-hmm.
and absolutely wonderful to me. I love working with those. It's Don's was a huge or is a huge mentor to me, and then Aaron's and his brother Justin and Brian. I mean, love those guys.
Sure.
Absolutely. They're if you're interested in purchasing a bass. Now, if you're interested in learning to make a bass, I'm going to be one of the guest instructors at the Oberlin Bass Workshop. That's every other year. It's coming up this summer. I think there's still a few spots left. It's really fantastic. It's an honor to be asked to teach there. I'm really excited to do it. I'll be focusing on the making, and then they also do some restoration and setup stuff too. And it's sort of aimed towards all levels, but it's definitely a lot of pros come and hang out. So it's a wonderful way to learn all of the details of that stuff, and it's very very bass heavy.
Mm-hmm.
I take predominantly bass stuff, and then I'm also involved with the Build a Bass in a Week, and what we do is at ISB at the convention. I'm the luthier vendor chair there. That's every other year on the off years of Oberlin. But we build a bass for charity. And we go ahead and we got everybody who wants to come can join in. Everybody wants to attend the convention. And then we all go into a room. And the last few times we built two basses and three basses. And it's literally start to finish. It starts as chunks of wood. And then it leaves with one bass gets raffled off to support the ISB, which is a fantastic organization. And then the other bass gets donated to a player in need. And it's just an amazing thing. This guy, the guy that won last time, he didn't even expect it. He's got tears coming down his face because he's from a background where he doesn't have the resources to even have his own bass, and then he walks out with a handmade bass by some of the best talent in the country. It's an amazing feeling. It's a cool thing to be a part of, and what's cool about that one is literally anybody that wants to attend can just show up, and we have them sign a waiver, and they can spend as much time as they want. And I'm there usually. I'm an early riser and I go to bed late. So when I'm there, I'm opening the shop at like 7 in the morning. Paul Hart's the director. He's one of my mentors as well. And I definitely give him credit for this because it's his thing. But I'm like his right-hand man there. So yeah, we'll open it at 7 and then we'll keep making until 2 or 3 in the morning.
Oh, wow.
Until we get done, because we have to get a base completed. It's got to be varnished. It's got to be set up. So it just goes home at the end of the week. And that's a hell of a feat. It's really, really difficult to do. Every time we do it, we're like, why are we doing this? And then by the time it's the end of it, we're like, wow, this is why we did this, because it just makes you feel amazing to be able to do such a thing. I mean, my first bass took me almost 2 years to make, to be able to do it in a week. But it's because we've got a team of 25 to 30 of the best makers.
Of course. Yeah,
So,
absolutely. But you also going to teach, I know, in some of the schools. Are you the next year or this year?
What's that now? I'm sorry.
Are you going to teach class also in the woodworking schools
No,
this year or next?
We're still working that out right now. We're hashing out the details. It looks like not this year, but the year after. There might be at the Mark Adams School,
Mark
and then
Adams.
tonight, uh, Austin's actually coming over to the shop. He hasn't seen the shop yet, so Austin at the School of Furniture is coming over, and we're going to be discussing some sort of lutherie thing that we'll do at his school, because I mean he's got the greatest school. I loved it. I loved attending it. I'd love to be able to do a class there. The whole idea is, what can we get done in a week that makes people feel like they actually accomplished something? Because as I said, it took 2 years to build my first base. It's not like we can have somebody come in and so we're still trying to figure out. Maybe it'll be a group build. Maybe it will be, we'll just build some electric guitars or something fun. I mean, not that this isn't fun, but
well, you can do probably again just all people together, just on one instrument. I know in Mark Adams, when I'm teaching, there's some people teaching making guitars or mandolins, violins, and they're working just on one instrument, just during the whole week, and make a beautiful instrument and just donate that. The same idea pretty much, but they know all the skills, the hands-on. And
absolutely, yeah, I think that's kind of the idea. But it's, I haven't, well, I've done the build a bass, but I haven't done it with people that have never, there's the chance some people have never even touched the tool before. So
of
that's,
course, it's always like that, always.
Yeah, exactly.
Every class like that.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Trevor, thank you very much for spending time with me today. So people love that. I love it. And we're gonna probably do it in future again. Why don't we just think something?
Pleasure was mine. I really had a great time. Thanks for
And
having
you also part of my school, correct?
me.
Yes.
I'm part of the school, and I highly recommend
Oh,
it.
thank you very much. People, see, the best people, they still signing up for my school. Some people saying it's a pleasure to meet Trevor. Wonderful. Okay, I'm gonna finish now. Don't go away, Trevor. Okay, so I'm gonna talk to you a little bit. But wonderful people, don't forget, it's really important, just to show if you like it or not. Just hit that button. Okay, there's a button, like button, and I'm gonna do it myself right there. Can you see those hearts? And thank you very much, Trevor. Thank you very much, everybody who's watching. So we're gonna finish now. Go ahead and hug someone, give a smile to someone, and blessings to all of you. Stay safe. Okay, have a wonderful, wonderful weekend. And for those of you like Eliyahu, Shabbat Shalom.